I'm Mitchell Shaw, and I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I'm the support player for Immortals. I got into League of Legends from an online friend. I've always played a lot of online games. It was something I grew up with my brothers. I've always been a part of gaming culture, and at first I didn't like the game, but after a year, Season 2 Worlds, after I watched that, that's kind of when it clicked. From then, I've kind of been hooked. I started at first casually, but as I progressively got better and better, I decided I could actually do something with it. When Riot finally got Oceanic servers, that's kind of where it triggered for me, where I realized there might be something here. I went from Platinum to Challenger within 2 weeks, mainly because the players were not as good, but it kind of reassured me that I could make something of myself, and teams started to notice me. But at the time I was underage, so it was kind of hard. I had to wait. So I played in a lot of amateur for fun tournaments like Go for Lols and just weekend tournaments as I waited. I've actually had like a pretty long career where I made a lot of different decisions. At one point I was a coach, and that's actually when I first met Raes. I was his coach for a little bit. At the time he was at Direwolves and then he moved to Chiefs. And then 2 years later, I decided to join the Chiefs as the support with him. The team at the time, Babip and Ryoma were rookies, and we had Swiper, who was like a known OS veteran. My first experience with Raes, we actually got reverse swept in the final by Direwolves. It was really fun playing with Raes because he was very aggressive, and it was something a playstyle that I really wasn't used to. So at first it took a while for me to adapt because I was used to playing mainly for team fighting and less on lane. So playing with Raes kind of opened my eyes a bit in terms of laning. So coming into the 2019 summer season in OPL, I had only won 2 OPL championships. I kind of held it against myself that if I didn't win that season, I would retire. Playing in OS, if you're not the first team, it's quite pointless in my opinion. If you can't go overseas, if you can't boot camp against the best players in the world, it's really not worth it, at least for myself. So on that year, Mammoth, we had a super roster. We choked in spring. It was really awful. But that season was really the do or die for me. And we eventually did win it in a 3-0 final. That was kind of the moment where everything changed.
I know when you guys put this team together, you thought it was a superstar roster. You thought it had what it took. You know, it was a tough season, split one. You said you had to go away, do some soul searching, you know, towards the end of this year. Now you're going to be the team heading to Worlds. That must feel awesome.
Yeah, I haven't been international in a long time, so definitely feels really good. And yeah, I'm just super proud of the guys because, like, you've never heard of a team going 5th place in the first split and then winning the next split. That's unheard of in OS. So I'm like just super grateful to be with all these players here today because they all put in the effort and they all put in the work, and honestly I'm just super happy. It just feels good, man.
I was able to go to Worlds in Europe. I was able to play EU solo queue, and I felt like I had to put everything on the line. I kind of put 100% in. I really felt like I did everything I could to make the team the best as it could have been, and myself, I felt like I put in so much work. I grinded EU solo queue. I had a really good win rate in solo queue, but it did hit a point where we did have some internal issues, and eventually we didn't perform that well at that Worlds, considering. But at the back of my mind, before the games even started, Origin had contacted me. And I was quite nervous because obviously I'm an Oceanic player, and getting message hit up by an LEC team, I was like, whoa, like people are actually starting to notice me. Joining a team full of veterans, Origin was definitely going to be difficult from the beginning. I knew joining the team, I'm an Oceanic player. I'm playing with 4 experienced, accomplished players. I knew that I had to put in 100%, and I couldn't slack. I couldn't do anything. I had to be the person, like, I felt like the filler player on the team, and I felt like I had to play a role, and I felt fine doing that. I knew that I had a lot of strengths, and I just had to play to my strengths. in between spring and summer definitely boomed, and there was a big disconnect, and I think that's what led to summer. Obviously the team literally went from 3rd in spring to 10th in summer, and I was sitting on the bench. It's something I expected, to be completely honest, and in a way I'm glad people didn't trust me and they got the result that they wanted. So at least for myself, I'm still very confident, and I felt like that year I grew a lot. I realized that being a filler player, I shouldn't have been a filler player. I should have just been myself, and I felt like if I was just speaking my mind and people actually were willing to have the discussions of my opinions, I think we would have done better, and that's on myself and that's on the team. This offseason was probably the most stressed one I've had. I was stuck in Denmark during COVID, so it was really a disaster because I wasn't sure if I could go home and get a visa, go back to Australia. So Riot announced that Oceanic residents will become North American residents. My plans was to play in LEC or ERLs. I did have a couple of LEC offers, but I decided to turn them down because since being a resident here, I feel like that's where I can make a mark of myself. I feel like European people didn't really accept an Oceanic player. I got a lot of flame, and I felt like coming to NA was a fresh start and the right move for me. Knowing that Xerxes and Gulhoto coming here was a good thing, knowing that I've worked with them before and I understand what they want and what they need, I felt like Xerxes in particular was a similar situation to me, where we kind of copped the blame, and we felt like this was a chance to change that, to change our image and to grow. And it feels really nice doing that with someone. I think he's a great teammate, a great player, and I think he wasn't able to show the best of himself last year because of the circumstances. So it feels nice to be in this new environment, and Gulhoto is able to bring what he couldn't last year. What he couldn't do last year, I feel like he's able to do that now. Spring we finished 7th. I wasn't entirely disappointed, but I wasn't happy either. I feel like our team has a lot of pieces that are very strong, and we are capable of doing better. So coming into summer, I think we can definitely achieve better than this. Obviously there's 8 playoff teams in summer, which I think is kind of insane, but I would like to place top 5. But at the end of the day, I don't want an expectation. I just want us to improve, and I just know if we improve, we can get to this point. I feel like we're in a very good spot to do something good here, and I hope we're able to do it.